So I think the California Probate Code could serve as a basis for statutory interpretation principles. In reading sections of California's codes, and these 29 codes, of course, contain the state's more than 156,000 individual statutes. I came across several interesting sections of California's Probate Code, which I think could serve as a basis for codified statutory construction principles. So if you look at Division 11, which is titled Construction of Wills, Trusts, and Other Instruments, Part 1, which is titled Rules for Interpretation of Instrument, Chapter 2, which is titled Ascertaining Meaning of Language Used in the Instrument in California's Probate Code. Again, it could be used for other statutory interpretation principles that could easily be codified in California law. So what do these sections do? Section 21120 of the Probate Code provides that the words of an instrument are to receive an interpretation that will give every expression some effect rather than one that will render any of the expressions inoperative. And preference is to be given to an interpretation of an instrument that will prevent intestacy or failure of a transfer, rather than one that will result in an intestacy or failure of a transfer. Section 21121 of the Probate Code states that all parts of an instrument are to be construed in relation to each other, and so as, if possible, to form a consistent whole. If the meaning of any part of an instrument is ambiguous or doubtful, it may be explained by any reference to or recital of that part in another part of the instrument. And then finally, there's section 21122 of the Probate Code, and this specifies that the words of an instrument are to be given their ordinary and grammatical meaning unless the intention to use them in another sense is clear and their intended meaning can be ascertained. Technical words are not necessary to give effect to a disposition in an instrument. And that section also says that technical words are to be considered as having been used in their technical sense unless A, the context clearly indicates a contrary intention, or B, it satisfactorily appears that the instrument was drawn solely by the transferor and that the transferor was unacquainted with the technical sense. So as you can see, these four provisions could easily be expanded beyond the words of written instruments, in this case, wills and trusts and their related documents, and instead be used as statutory interpretation principles for when California's courts interpret provisions of California's codes. These or similar statements could easily be placed in the general or preliminary provisions in each of the 29 codes to help guide our state's courts in their interpretation of statutes enacted by the legislature.